Today we're looking at a really cool color by Benjamin Moore called Silvery Moon. So not only am I going to break this color down for you and give you all the details you need to know about it, I've also prepared a whole color palette to go with it, including 2 trim color options and 3 wall color pairings. So let's get into it. I'm James, the color guy with my color wheel pin. Thank you, Amazon. And I love empowering my viewers to make awesome paint color decisions. Because color, it can be very, very tricky putting them all together, and that's why I do it for you. But like on every episode of Color Quickie, these are just my thoughts and opinions. Be sure to test colors out before you commit to them. Get a tester pot, at least get a color swatch and bring it home before you really just go for it. There's my disclaimer. So Silvery Moon is a lighter mid-tone paint color sitting around a 64 LRV. And this means it's reflecting 64% of the light that hits it. And that tells us that it is one of those lighter leaning colors. So for interior use, anything in that low to mid 60s range tends to be a pretty solid sweet spot that compromises depth, but also light airiness that doesn't feel too bogged down or heavy. And this is why Silvery Moon is a very popular choice for anyone that's looking for one of those default colors to kind of go throughout their home, maybe the hallways, especially ones that lean towards the cooler side of things. Because this is a very cool color. It definitely has a blue undertone, so not just a plain straight down the middle neutral gray. This one definitely favors the cool side of things. Now that can mean a few things, because if you love these cooler colors and that serenity that blue can bring, then this will really play into that. Or if you like warmer colors, this can sort of be an opposing complementary piece to sort of give you different feels in different spaces throughout your home. I find a good default for cooler colors to be things like bathrooms and bedrooms, but Silvery Moon is neutral enough that you can use it pretty much anywhere, just as long as you like that sort of vibe. Now, what about trim colors to go with Silvery Moon? Well, white diamond would be my off-white choice. If you wanted some lighter or white trim, this would be a great option because it has a very clean quality to it, but also just a touch of a cool blue undertone. It's barely noticeable, barely distinguishable. It's present enough to fit alongside Silvery Moon really, really well. It also has an 83 LRV, so basically a 20-point difference between the two in lightness, so there will be a noticeable amount of contrast, which is kind of important when it comes to your trim. Now, what if you wanted contrast the other way? A darker color, maybe for your baseboards or even your doors or something like that. Rocky Coast would be an awesome choice. This is like a stormy dark gray, a little bit of blue, a touch of green as well, and just overall a slate gray feeling color. Much more dramatic, a bit more moody, dynamic, and at a 17 LRV, it is clearly the darker choice. All right, so let's talk color pairings. Now, I wanted to stick with a few more of these cooler neutrals because if you were interested in something like Silvery Moon, then maybe you wanted to lean in that direction a little bit more. So the first color pairing is called Moonshine, and this color is remarkably similar to Silvery Moon, but what it does differently is it introduces a little bit more green, which kind of translates to a touch more warmth while still being very much adjacent to Silvery Moon. They are within that muted blue-gray family of colors, but Moonshine just gives you a little bit of a difference in green. Kind of a 1A, 1B approach you can take here, where maybe one area will suit that touch of green a bit better, or you want to lean a little heavier into the blue, then you can go Silvery Moon in that case. Just another option, a very subtle difference, but I think sometimes subtlety is nice. Sometimes. Next up, we have Smoke Gray. Now, this color is basically as dark as the dark trim color option we talked about. But here, there isn't very much noticeable green. It is a moody, dark, shaded blue that brings in a lot of that coolness, but adds a ton of depth. So this is going to give you something a little bit different, a little more bold, I would say, but still well within the color palette that we're talking about. Very much leaning into the cool colors. So that 21 LRV does make this the darkest color in this whole palette, but I don't think it's overly dark necessarily. If you have enough light in the space, if you have a lot of windows, it will liven up quite a bit as a color. It's not going to feel like an off black or anything like that, because those colors in the 3s and the 5 LRV range, those are very, very dark. But this one, you're still reflecting about 20% of the light that hits it. So it can feel pretty optimistic as a paint color, especially with a lot of light. But in dimly lit spaces, it will feel pretty dark. The third color is definitely the most out there one of the bunch. It is quite different. Not insanely vibrant, but because of the color hue difference, it will stand out like crazy. It's called Golden Straw, and this is a paint color that has a little bit of a buttery, creamy feeling to it, maybe a touch of orange as well in the undertones, and it's just going to liven up any space you use it in. I would probably see it more so as an accent color off of the walls, just to sort of cut the monotony of blue and gray. But if you want to use it in an entire space or in an open part of your home to really just bring in that positivity, that sort of zestiness that the color brings, then you can do that. You're really playing with opposite ends here, warm and cool, a little more subdued versus energetic. So have fun with that. Really explore the color psychology of it all and just think about what you're using each space for. Here's the palette all together. Let me know what you think and become a Patreon today. Further support what we do because we need the support. In order for us to keep doing this full time on YouTube, our Patreon members, like the ones that I'm putting on the screen, they support us every single month. And in exchange, we give them exclusive bonus content every single Sunday. Become a Prime member, and every 3 months, you get your own personalized color palette from me, from moi. Link is down in the description if you're interested in that. Other than that, we got another video right over here. Whee!